you're calling out John Jones.
Yeah.
Right? That's the boogeyman. Like, John Jones is the boogeyman. When he fought Gustafson, he had almost no training camp. They said he barely showed up. Talked to Jackson about it, and Greg Jackson was always like, he didn't even train for that fight. He pulled that fight off in the 4th and 5th rounds. That's when he really turned it up. So you're talking about a guy who hasn't even been training. And then you saw the real John Jones in the second fight. That's motivated John Jones.
Focused, and John is in shape and training. He's the greatest of all time. I think he fights Aspinall because I think it's going to be a lot of money. It's glory. And look, Aspinall's amazing. He's unbelievable. He's fast as for a heavyweight. He's big. He can grapple. Black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got knockout power. But he's never been in deep water. Ever. He might be great, but he doesn't have that experience. So in his head, you've got to think there's got to be some, no matter how confident he is, there's got to be a couple questions. Yeah. If you've never been, like John has no questions, right? There's no questions in John Jones's head.
Joe Rogan has just issued a warning to Tom Aspinall, stating that he shouldn't be fighting John Jones as he thinks Tom isn't ready yet. However, Joe Rogan explained that John Jones is a master at studying his opponent's tendencies, noting that he analyzes their movements and habits to predict what they'll do next. Rogan mentioned how Jones recognized Daniel Cormier's tendency to lean to his right side when shooting for a takedown, which set him up for the perfect head kick knockout. Rogan compared this to Leon Edwards' head kick against Kamaru Usman, emphasizing that these moves aren't accidents, but carefully planned and executed strategies.
John Jones studies everyone. He studies their tendencies. He gets in his mind how when you throw that left kick, you make this little step with your right foot. You might do this thing when you shoot for a takedown, where you keep your leg on, you keep your head on one side every time. You might do this thing where when someone throws a right hand, you always lean to the left. You might do and John Jones picked up that tendency, and that's how he knocked out Daniel Cormier. He knew Daniel Cormier has a tendency to duck towards his right side because he goes for that single on the left leg, and John caught him with the perfect head kick. But it wasn't by an accident. He set that up. He set it up just like Leon Edwards set up that head kick on Kamaru. There's a beauty to that.
Joe Rogan commended John Jones for his sustained excellence over the years, especially in battles against seasoned competitors like Daniel Cormier. Rogan emphasized that Jones's achievements aren't solely due to his physical abilities, but also his sharp strategic mind. He noted that Jones has a unique talent for dictating the tempo of his bouts, using his intellect to outmaneuver his rivals while avoiding unnecessary risks.
John dominates everybody. He took down Daniel Cormier. Daniel Cormier is an Olympic wrestler. I mean, he's a phenomenal wrestler. And John took him down, and took him down multiple times. He's a different dude, man. Yeah. This is what we're talking about, like with genetics, right? There's some guys, they're just blessed. And then with John, it's blessed and his mind. It's not just, it's his personality, his like ruthless competitiveness. It's like, he's not going to lose. He's going to find a way to get you. And he's going to do it clever. He's not trying to take a bunch of punishment and to stand and bang. He's not going to point the center of the octagon. Let's go right here. We'll stand right here. Never going to happen with John Jones. You're not getting none of that, son. You're getting knees to the gut. You're getting your knees kicked. You're getting just laced up with elbows where your head's bleeding. He's going to slowly dismantle you and find a way to submit you, or punish you, beat you to death on the ground.
Joe Rogan pointed out that John Jones has faced fast fighters like Alexander Gustafsson and Lyoto Machida in the past, so adapting to speed isn't a big challenge for him. He remembered Machida's quickness, which allowed him to land some hits on Jones, but emphasized that being hit by Machida, a light heavyweight, is different from facing someone like Tom Aspinall. Rogan noted that at 255 pounds, Aspinall combines speed and power in a way that presents a fresh challenge for Jones.
But John has been used to fighting guys like Alexander Gustafsson, guys who are really fast at light heavyweight. So the speed is not going to be as much of an adjustment. Like, John's used to really fast people. He fought Lyoto Machida when Machida was in his prime. Machida was a lightning bolt, man. And he caught John a bunch of times. But then there's the thing of getting caught by Lyoto Machida. is not like getting caught by 255-pound Tom Aspinall.
Rogan also described Jon Jones as the boogeyman of MMA, citing his ability to win even when not fully prepared, such as in his first fight against Alexander Gustafsson. Despite having a limited training camp, Jones managed to win in the later rounds. Rogan highlighted that in their rematch, when Jones was fully motivated, he showed just how dangerous and unbeatable he can be when he's fully focused.
You're calling out Jon Jones,
Yeah.
right? That's the boogeyman. Like, Jon Jones is the boogeyman. When he fought Gustafsson, he had almost no training camp. They said he barely showed up. Talked to Jackson about it, and Greg Jackson was always like, he didn't even train for that fight. He pulled that fight off in the 4th and 5th rounds. That's when he really turned it up. So you're talking about a guy who hasn't even been training, and then you saw the real Jon Jones in the second fight. That's motivated Jon Jones.
Rampage Jackson also expressed his admiration for Jon Jones, stating that he doesn't believe anyone can defeat him. Reflecting on their own past fight, Rampage acknowledged being in optimal shape but still falling short. While he recognizes Tom Aspinall's skill and danger, Rampage feels that Aspinall doesn't present a true challenge to Jones. He mentioned hearing that Jones intends to dedicate around 6 months to prepare for Aspinall, likely taking the time to thoroughly study and analyze Aspinall's tactics. Rampage also praised Jones for his remarkable fight intelligence, even referring to him as the Neo of MMA for his unique ability to perceive and control fights in ways that others simply can't.
You fought Jon Jones back in the day. People are
Why you only bringing up my losses?
People are all talking about Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. How do you see that fight going? You got Tom or you got Jon?
Man, I don't think there's nobody on this planet that can beat Jon Jones because I was in there with him. I was at my best, and I've never lost a fight at my best until Jon Jones. And you know, no disrespect to Tom Aspinall, but he a good fighter. You know what I'm saying? I think he's probably second best out there, but I don't see him.
You think Jon Jones finishes him?
I think Jon Jones is just a real smart fighter. I heard something like he want to take 6 months before he fight Aspinall. I think it's because he want to study him. He want to break him down. You know, right. Jon Jones ain't no fool. He's probably one of the smartest fighters out there. I say he like Neo. He's Neo of MMA.
Joe Rogan highlighted Jon Jones's exceptional fight IQ, pointing out that despite past partying and physical setbacks, Jones remained one of the most dominant fighters because of his natural talent and strategic mindset. He emphasized that when Jones was focused and properly trained, he became nearly unbeatable, as demonstrated in his rematch with Alexander Gustafsson, where he dominated after dedicating himself to serious preparation.
Well, Jon's fight IQ is insane.
Insane.
Yeah.
He's a smart guy.
And did a lot of his career partying, which is even crazier. Like, diminished his body, like one of the things he said to Daniel Cormier, which is one of the coldest things anybody's ever said. He said, I beat you when I was on coke. That's such a cold-blooded thing to say. It's so cold-blooded.
Crazy.
It's so cold-blooded.
Crazy. He's so crazy.
He was so good. But he was so good, he was better than everybody in his division, so he didn't work hard. But then when he has to work hard, he's terrifying. Like when he fought Alexander Gustafsson, barely trained. They said he barely trained, barely was in the gym. They were really worried about him. Greg Jackson said they were even considering not letting him fight. Like, you shouldn't be fighting. You're not training.
Yeah.
And then he guts it out in the final rounds, wins the decision, very close fight. Then they have a rematch. And in the rematch, he trained.
Yeah.
And then he just destroyed him in the rematch.
The first fight.
Rogan believes that when fully committed, Jones is a force to be reckoned with, cementing his place as one of the greatest fighters of all time. He also warned Tom Aspinall about the challenges of facing Jones, despite Aspinall's impressive skills, including his speed, size, grappling, and knockout power. Rogan noted that Aspinall has yet to face real adversity in a fight, often finishing opponents early, and cautioned that Jones's experience, resilience, and ability to perform under pressure could make this a much tougher test for Aspinall than he expects.
Focused, and Jon is in shape and training. He's the greatest of all time. I think he fights Aspinall because I think it's going to be a lot of money. It's glory, and look, Aspinall's amazing. He's unbelievable. He's fast as for a heavyweight. He's big. He can grapple. Black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's got knockout power, but he's never been in deep water. Ever.
Moreover, Georges St. Pierre talked about Jon Jones's legacy, suggesting that Jones might be the greatest fighter in MMA history. St. Pierre mentioned that if he had to pick a fighter in their prime to represent the sport in a one-on-one match, it would be Jones. While recognizing Jones's extraordinary abilities, St. Pierre also pointed out that age eventually catches up with everyone, regardless of how great they are.
See, like John Jones, you know, it's probably the best fighter that ever lives. You know, talk about if I have to choose someone in his prime that I put in the Coliseum hand to hand, I think I would be John Jones. You know, it's hard to deny that.
Joe Rogan also asserted that Jones could possibly overwhelm Aspinall by taking him to the ground and controlling him, highlighting Jones's superior wrestling abilities. However, he also noted that no one has really tested Aspinall's stamina in the later rounds, leaving uncertainty about how he would perform in the 3rd, 4th, or 5th rounds of a fight.
John beats him. John might beat him up.
Yeah, he could.
John might take him down and ragdoll him on the ground, like, you know.
John easily could, because we don't know how good John is either.
And we also don't know what happens to Tom Aspinall in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds. We have
never
zero
because
idea.
no one's gotten there.
No one's even gotten close.
However, Joe Rogan commented on John Jones's physique, pointing out how his body is perfectly suited for fighting. He highlighted how Jones has muscle only where he needs it, broad shoulders, strong arms, powerful thighs, but notably small calves. Rogan explained that Jones's long frame gives him a natural advantage, making him an ideal fighter. He also praised Jones's ability to use his height and reach effectively, calling him a master at controlling distance, which sets him apart as one of the best in his weight class.
Look how little his calves are. Yeah. Like you can see there, they're so small. He's got like literally the perfect frame for fighting because he only has muscle where he needs it. He's got shoulders, he's got arms, he's got thighs. He doesn't need his calves. He's so long. It's like he's designed in a lab. Like if you wanted to design a perfect like physique for fighting, I think it's John Jones. And he's a master at distance. He's the best at using this gift that he has, which is being very tall for the weight class.
Moreover, Demetrius Johnson acknowledged Tom Aspinall's talent, but believed John Jones would probably defeat him with relative ease. He admitted that he was more excited about a potential fight between Jones and Aspinall than one with Pereira, predicting that Jones would dominate the encounter. Johnson also mentioned that Aspinall's reported $30 million demand could create challenges in the negotiations for the fight.
John Jones will smoke Tom Aspinall.
I don't know, man.
He'll smoke Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall is athletic. I think Tom Aspinall will try to take the fight to John Jones, and it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'd rather see that fight over Alex Pereira.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I agree.
Like,
I would like to see that fight over Alex, but come on, man. Aspinall is a great fighter.
Yep.
He's a good champion.
Aspinall.
That's what I said. John Jones will smoke Aspinall.
Yeah.
Smoke him.
I can't wait to see. I hope it happens. That's the fight that needs to happen. I
Why-
think Tom Aspinall versus John Jones needs to happen.
Why do you think there's so much friction there? Why do you think it's not happening? Why? Because we see so
I think
much on
John
the
Jones said
internet.
he wants $30 million.
Frank Mir stated that John Jones would have the upper hand in a fight against Tom Aspinall, mainly because of his superior wrestling and ability to control from the top. Mir believed that Jones could neutralize Aspinall's jiu-jitsu by outpositioning him and delivering effective ground and pound. While he recognized that a win over Aspinall would be significant, Mir emphasized that it wouldn't greatly affect Jones's legacy, as Jones is already considered one of the greatest fighters in MMA history.
I think Tom might have the best chance of anybody to beat John right now. But that being said, I still think John wins the fight just because of his wrestling. I think he puts, Tom on his back and is able to nullify his jiu-jitsu from being top position with his elbows and control. What does John win to take that fight? He goes out there and beats Tom. Is it really going to make or break his career? I don't think anybody cares.
Aljamain Sterling expressed interest in a potential fight between John Jones and Tom Aspinall, but acknowledged that it's difficult to bet against Jones. He emphasized Jones's mental strength and strategic mindset as key factors that give him an edge. While recognizing Aspinall's athleticism and potential, Sterling warned that if Jones could bring the fight to the ground, his superior wrestling and top control would likely give him the advantage.
It's a very intriguing fight. If I had to put money on it, it'd be super hard for me to bet against a guy like Jones, just because I know the mindset that he comes in with. Not saying Aspinall couldn't get it done because of all those physical gifts that he has. But dog, betting against a guy like that, if he gets you on the ground, that's just a bad night.
However, Joe Rogan also described John Jones as a person with a unique temperament, mentality, and a ruthless competitive drive that can be almost terrifying to others. He compared Jones to an ancient warrior, suggesting that if they lived 1,000 years ago, Jones would be the one leading a charge on horseback with a battle axe, dominating and striking fear into people. Rogan highlighted that while Jones has the heart of a conqueror, he's also a sensitive, intelligent person who is trying to be a good man, showing the complexity of his character.
John is what I would describe is there's human beings
that have different temperament and different minds and different mentality and a ruthless competitive drive that's almost terrifying to the ordinary person. That's John Jones. John Jones is a bad guy who's trying to be a good guy. Right. But that guy, if we were living 1,000 years ago, he would be on a horse with the biggest battle axe, waiting in the back, hacking heads off, and everybody would be running. And those people have always existed. These dominators have always existed.
Yeah.
But John is like a genuinely sensitive, intelligent guy who's trying to do the right thing. But he's a fucking conqueror.
Moreover, Daniel Cormier reflected on his 2 bouts with John Jones, pointing out that he was already in his late 30s during those fights. Now, as Jones approaches the same age, Cormier believes he's facing a fresh challenge in Tom Aspinall. He warned that Aspinall could be one of the most dangerous fighters Jones has encountered, not only because of his skills, but also because heavyweight isn't Jones's natural division. Cormier added that if Jones enters the ring weighing around 245 pounds, the fight would be an even tougher test, stressing how difficult the matchup could be for him.
You know that the first time I fought John Jones, I was 36 years old. I was 36 years old the first time I fought John Jones. 36 and 38 the second time. He's now what, 37, 38 years old? I think that this kid is as dangerous for him as anyone he's ever been in there with. Partly because that's not his weight class. He would fight Tom Aspinall better than him weighing 245 pounds.
UFC welterweight champion Belal Muhammad believes Tom Aspinall could be John Jones's most challenging opponent, citing Aspinall's strength and speed as attributes of the new generation of fighters. While Muhammad thinks Jones might still win, he suggests that the fight would only be worthwhile if the financial rewards are significant. Belal anticipates that Dana White will push for the fight due to its lucrative potential, but he speculates that Jones, having already proven himself, would likely prioritize a matchup with Alex Pereira unless the payout reaches between $30 and $50 million.
If I'm John Jones, like a lot of people consider him the GOAT, the best fighter ever do it. The next hungry lion is Aspinall. It's probably the toughest fight that he'll have. Like this guy's the next generation. He's a lot stronger, a lot faster. But I think John Jones is good enough to beat him. But it's like it has to be worth it. The fans are fickle, right? You lose one fight, they're gonna he sucks. Right? They just care about your last win or your last loss. I think Dana White and them will end up making it. Dana White's a smart businessman. He knows how much money that fight would make. If I'm John Jones, you've already done everything in the sport. It's not worth it unless it's that $30 million, $50 million payday. If I'm John Jones, I'm picking out Pereira first over Aspinall.
Moreover, Coach Eric Nixick recognized that Tom Aspinall's hand speed could offer him an edge over John Jones, but pointed out Jones's remarkable skill at controlling his opponent's hands. He referenced Jones's fight with Stipe Miocic, where Jones neutralized Miocic's jab by switching to southpaw, leaving Miocic with just his cross, which Jones timed perfectly. Nixick also shared a conversation he had with Aspinall, where they talked about the importance of avoiding Jones's control, especially in the B range. He stressed that Aspinall must remain aggressive in those moments to prevent Jones from controlling the pace and flow of the fight.
What advantages do you see that he has over John Bones Jones?
I think hand speed. But what John does very well, and what we saw in the Stipe fight, is John will occupy your hands. So Stipe's one of his best weapons is always his jab. So you saw John switch to southpaw, lead hand occupy, which left Stipe with one punch, which was his cross. So he was timing the cross to pull off and then was adding on. So I think when you break that fight down, I actually talked to Tom on Monday. We were kind of going back and forth a little bit on some of the game planning things. You can't be in that B range and just kind of get snake charmed by John. Let him grab your hands, let him dictate the pace, let him dictate the rhythm. You have to be hyper aggressive in those positions, and I think that's what Tom would have to do in that fight.
Dricus du Plessis commended Tom Aspinall for his passion and determination, while recognizing that John Jones is probably approaching the final stages of his illustrious career. He expressed a desire for Jones to retire on a high note, preserving his legacy, and hoped that Aspinall would step up to represent the next generation of fighters. However, du Plessis also emphasized Jones's remarkable ability to dominate even the toughest opponents with ease, solidifying his position as one of the sport's all-time greats.
Aspinall is young, he's hungry. You have Jones, who is definitely at the end of his career, 38 years old. I don't need to see this because he's never been beaten. I want John Jones to retire unbeaten, and I want him to retire, and Aspinall goes on to be the next big thing. But John Jones being the warrior that he says, pay me enough and I'm doing it. Aspinall wants it, and one of them has to lose that fight. And that's the one thing, you look at it and go, Aspinall's probably going to win. But then, if you ask me that, I say, no. We've said that so many times with John Jones, and it makes it look easy. He is the greatest of all time, for sure.
Curtis Blades gave Tom Aspinall a slight 55% advantage in a potential fight, but admitted that beating John Jones would still be a tough challenge. He pointed out Jones's extensive skill set and championship experience, making him a dangerous opponent that would test Aspinall's abilities to the fullest.
I think Aspinall beats him.
Yeah, I would pick him. Like, I would go 55% him. Obviously, it's not gonna be a landslide. Like, we're going against John Jones. He's a legend. You got all the weapons.
Sean O'Malley praised John Jones for his remarkable career, but warned that a loss to Tom Aspinall could negatively impact his legacy. He noted that critics might use Jones's age and inactivity as factors that contributed to a potential loss, potentially affecting his place in the sport's history.
Tom Aspinall? God damn. It's like you risk going down as no matter what, you don't have to fight again. Greatest of all time, people will say that. You're the greatest of all time. Greatest of all time, John Jones. Or you risk it, go fight Tom Aspinall, possibly lose, and then it's like, he was the greatest. Then they're saying, yeah, but he wasn't in his prime.
That's it for today's video. So what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? Share your thoughts in the comment section, and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video. Also check out our other videos on the screen right now.